I matched with a girl on Tinder and I don't think she's my type to date seriously. And I just want to be friends with benefits. Should I just invite her over?
Well, I would meet her out first, like some place to go have drinks, like a wine bar or something like that. Because if you never talk to her and you don't know her, just inviting her over, that's probably not going to happen. So go out and take her on a date like you would somebody else, like a wine bar, or if you're not a drinker, hang out someplace that's got a cool coffee shop where you can have a cup of coffee, maybe some small plates or something like that. Just something so you don't invest a lot. And if you gotta still take her through the seduction process. Most women, it's gonna take about 4 or 5 hours on your first date to get them to the point where they feel safe and comfortable enough with you to go home with you and hook up. But again, you're only gonna do that if the signs are there. Because if you just try to invite girls over to your house from Tinder without ever having met them or talked to them or hung out, you're probably just gonna get ghosted a lot. So, and then after that, after the you guys start hooking up, then you can just invite her over and or go over to her place and Netflix and chill or whatever. But one of the video newsletters I was doing this morning, a guy did that for like 8 months. He basically would go over to her house 2 3 days a week. He never took her on dates. He assumed she just wanted to be friends with benefits, even though in the back of his mind he wanted her as his girlfriend. But they were dating for 8 months. She never fell in love, never asked him to be her boyfriend, and he claimed to have read the book 15 times. And so if he was a good student, she should have been in love by week 6 or 7. And yet he's eight months down the road, and then on top of that, she asked for space. And so what started happening is she recognized that he was only treating her like a friends with benefits, and so she started losing interest and backing away. And as she backed away, he started pursuing heavily to the point where she asked for space, and then she quickly broke up with him after that. So there's gonna if you're just gonna have some rotation girls, there's typically gonna be a time limit on that where eventually they're gonna get wind that you're not interested in dating them seriously, and then they're gonna dip on you. So he says, Coach, we've been together for 1.5 years, and we see each other 3 to 4 days a week and have dates once a week. I sometimes feel like there's no new places around to visit. I avoid going to the same places. Well, that's a little excessive. I mean, if it's your favorite restaurant, you both love going there, then go and do that. There's nothing wrong with that. The problem is if you do the same thing every week. Like I was talking about in a previous live, we were talking about this a little bit yesterday. There was a guy who wrote an email, and he was in his 60, he was like 60, 62, 63, I think. He was dating a woman who was 65, and they're both living in Mexico. And he'd been dating her for like the most better part of the last year. And twice a week they would do salsa dancing together. So I guess they were taking classes. And once a week he goes over to her place to Netflix and chill and hook up. And that's all he ever did with her. And then she dumped him, basically saying, I feel like we're an old married couple that's been together forever. And it was basically boring. So there's nothing wrong with going to the same restaurant, especially if it's your favorite restaurant or her favorite restaurant or you both love it. It's that's kind of crazy. But you know what? For a year and a half, every time you went, you never went to the same place twice. That's pretty impressive. But it's okay to go to a place at this point in your relationship that you both like. It's not a big deal.
First date is coming up and she did not send address. Do I reach out or wait we meet a definite date?
You did not make a definite date. A definite date means it's you have a definite day, definite time, definite place to get together, and it's confirmed. But in this case, you don't know where you're supposed to meet up, and that's sloppy on your part. So, is this guy a cherry picker? He might be a cherry picker because you should know better than that if you're following me. So, you're I would text her probably the day of the date and just text her, say you're supposed to meet at 7 o'clock. Say, hey, I'm gonna be running late because I got tied up at work. Can we meet at 7:30, or I'll pick you up at 7:30 instead of 7? Does that work for you? And by the way, send me your address so I can pick you up. Also, he might not have very much rapport. Maybe he made a date with her with somebody that he met online, so that might not go well. So that tells you need to spend some more time at the book, dude, because that's really sloppy.
Yeah, don't do that. Mine was sloppy.
Yep. Yeah. Tell about that story. What the guy did.
Oh man. I had a date with a guy. We agreed on a Saturday, and the whole week leading up, he kept asking me everything that I wanted to do. What kind of food do you like? Where do you want to go? What time? Where? When? Everything was basically
Making
depended
you be
on
the
me.
man.
Yeah. And then the day of, he asked me, "Oh, is this time okay?" And I was just like, "Am I taking you out on a date or are you taking me on a date?" And he never responded to me.
But he's still liking all of your.
But he's still liking all of my stories.
So he basically demoted himself from potential romantic prospect to just one of your social media fans.
Yeah, there was no structure. He had no plan, no organization. I had to constantly ask him, like, what are we doing? What should I wear?
He had no
I,
plan.
yeah. And I just got aggravated. I'm like, I feel like I'm taking you on a date at this point.
Yeah, the other day we were filming 3% Man Study Group, and she had a very sassy response to where you could tell she was pretty irritated about the whole thing. So it's repulsive to women when you just leave shit up in the air like that. And so, like I said, the two things, he didn't actually make a definite date, and the fact that he's not sure of the address, that tells me he probably doesn't have a lot of rapport with her. Maybe he met her online and he's thinking he's just going to go straight to her house for a date. There's a good chance that date is probably not going to happen.